Y'all, go and watch the movie, Leave the World Behind. Everything that's happening in that movie is happening in real life right now. RRL, in real time. We already had the animals from last year. Y'all know all the animals were acting up last year. So many different reports, different types of animals, water, land, all of them were acting up. So we got that. Then we had the ship. Okay, we had the ship. You already know about the ship. Okay, now we got the planes. And we're not even going to mention the fact that literally in the movie, they were talking about a plane and the mother being on the plane the whole time. And then the main character almost got hit by a plane near the housing that he was at. Y'all, come on. Something is going on. Yes. Are they trying to tell you? Have they already told us? Yes. So you really need to just be prepared because you already been told. So you can't say that you weren't warned. And also, not to mention, he mentioned the stock market. Now, what happened about 2 weeks ago that had something dealing with some stock that happened at 12 o'clock in the morning? They dropping breadcrumbs, y'all. Pay attention.
Okay, so first we have the crash in DC, then we have the one in Philly, and then there was also one in California. Something is going on. We're not being told something. I think it's way more than what any of us are even thinking right now.
All right, so help me out here. We've got 2 plane crashes. One leaving Wichita, Kansas. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. A plane flying into Pennsylvania that crashes in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
4 separate aviation incidents in just 5 days. 5 aircraft down. What's going on? An F-35 fighter jet crashed during a training exercise at Ellison Air Force Base. The pilot was safely ejected and was taken to Bassett Army Hospital for evaluation. The cause of the crash is under investigation. A civilian aircraft crashed near Santa Barbara, California. Details are still emerging and authorities are investigating the incident. A mid-air collision between an American Airlines flight and a Black Hawk military helicopter near Washington, D.C.'s Reagan National Airport, resulting in the deaths of all 67 individuals on board. The National Transportation Safety Board has recovered the black boxes and is analyzing them as we speak. A Learjet 55 air ambulance crashed shortly after takeoff from a northeast Philadelphia airport. The aircraft, operated by Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, was transporting a young patient and her mother back to Mexico. All 6 individuals on board perished in the crash, which also ignited nearby houses. That's 4 major incidents in under a week. This isn't normal. Are our skies still safe, or is this just a tragic coincidence, or could something bigger be happening? I'm not here to spread fear. I'm here to ask the real questions that need answers. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about them.
Hey, Army veteran here. I was stationed in an aviation unit, more specifically a Black Hawk unit, and I've got questions because the math is not mathing on this Black Hawk hitting into the airplane incident. First and foremost, where were the crew chiefs? Every pilot has at least 1 crew chief. Most of the time there are 2. So if there were 2 crew chiefs on that helicopter, plus the pilot, 3 people didn't see the plane? Also, it was a night mission. Each one of those crew chiefs would have been wearing night vision goggles, which highlights everything in the sky. So 3 people, 2 sets of night vision goggles, didn't see the big flashing plane? Also, Black Hawks have radar. They can tell if a missile is coming towards them, so their radar didn't show the big blinking plane on it. As someone who's been a passenger on Black Hawks more than 10 times in my career, the one thing that I can tell you is super consistent is the communication between the crew chiefs and the pilot. That never stops throughout the whole flight. So you are never, ever going to convince me that this was just an accident. I am convinced that something very bad happened up there and there was some type of hijacking. And of course I'm speculating. There's literally nothing to prove what I'm saying, but it just doesn't make any.
How the hell does a Black Hawk crash into an airplane? It's 2025. A Black Hawk is a highly sophisticated, has all the sensors on it. This should never have happened. And the US Airways plane was doing everything according to the FAA perfectly. So my question is, did you see the video, by the way? It literally looked like the Black Hawk was going directly at it, almost like a missile. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they did. However, in the military, when I served in the Air Force, they said if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, because perception is reality. So we need to do some digging. And we also need to recognize the fact that over 65 people lost their life in this tragedy. Now, we should realize that we need more questions answered. We have a lot of questions. Why was the helicopter, flying in that direction? Why were they at the same height? Who authorized it? Was the pilot of the Black Hawk communicating? Was he silent? What was going on at the time of that? Because, quite frankly, this should never have happened. In an age of technology and communication and safety, quite frankly, this is really pushing the narrative of why AI should be controlling more things. And that's kind of scary. So, at the end of the day, more questions than answers at this point. Pray for the souls, pray for the family, and at the end of the day, what happened?
As someone who is from DC, that whole plane crash is very much so not normal. I don't think we've ever had anything like that happen here. Our air control is top notch here, simply because we are the nation's capital. They won't even let you fly a damn drone. You understand? You can't even fly a drone in DC without the feds on your ass. They don't even play like that. Then they're saying allegedly that I think they call it the telecom, or the way that they communicate, with the air control and the people who be in the towers on the helicopter, it was apparently off. So they couldn't communicate with the people to see where the planes were and, to stay out of their way or whatever the case is. I'm not buying none of that. If you watch that damn video, that damn helicopter looked like it was headed straight for that plane. It looked like it was directly trying to hit that damn plane. Okay? And the plane was literally almost about to land. It was seconds away from landing. If you know anything about Reagan Airport, once you cross over the Potomac, the landing strip is right there. There's so many places that you can go and stand and sit and have picnics and watch the planes land. Once they cross over that water, there's the landing strip. So it was literally seconds from landing. I don't know what's up with it. I don't know who was on that plane or who was on the helicopter or whatever. But something is real fishy around here. Because I know that they don't even play like that when it comes to air control, specifically in the city. They don't even play like that. So I'm asking hella questions. I'm so sorry for any of the families affected. Over 60 people lost their lives in that collision. And you just never know, bro. Like, you just never know how shit can turn out. And that's just one of the worst ways to go. They said that the dive team, when they went down there were some people still sitting in their seats underwater. And that shit just broke my heart. So hopefully the truth comes out about what really happened, because I'm not buying the whole it was an accident and whatever they're gonna try to spin it as. I'm not buying it.
I honestly debated posting this because I understand this is a very sensitive topic right now for a lot of different people, but I feel like I've made my platform on here being very genuine, and it would be disingenuous of me not to talk about this and ask questions. But I would like to talk about the DC plane crash. Washington, D.C. and that airport has the most secured airspace in our nation. Black Hawks are the most advanced military helicopters in the world. They are equipped with top-of-the-line equipment from everything from GPS, inertial navigation systems, comms, everything, top of the line. If you've seen any of the videos at all, you know it was direct. They received comms from air traffic control about the plane. 811 Walton Street, go look up that address. January 1st, New Year's Eve night, Bourbon Street, Army veteran. Las Vegas, Trump Tower, current Army service member, Green Beret. Army helicopter. The flight path is hectic. They circled for hours. I personally believe these questions should be asked and this should be discussed, because those 67 people that perished, their families deserve answers. And as a military family member myself, I understand how people could say insinuating such a thing would be very hurtful to those service members' families. But I personally believe, assuming human error, for these people that are the highest trained in their field, that have dedicated their entire life and have so many credentials and qualifications, assuming that it was simply human error is more insulting.
You expect me to believe that a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight in DC's most monitored and secure airspace? An American Eagle flight that was en route from Wichita, Kansas? Does anybody know about what's happening in Kansas right now? You know, a major tuberculosis, outbreak? Putting that aside, I just so happened to track the helicopter's path as well before you were unable to all of a sudden. And boy, did I discover a lot of very interesting information, but we'll get to that here in a second. Do you know how many Russians alone were on that flight? And do keep in mind, no one is believed to actually have survived that mid-air collision. But I really shouldn't have to say much more considering they were Russian personnel. Now let's do keep in mind, okay, there has been reported to be 3 US military personnel that were on board the helicopter. No names have been released as of yet, but this is the really interesting part. When you were able to track the helicopter's flight path, it just so happened to originate from a very specific address. I'm not necessarily sure that I can name out an address on TikTok without receiving a violation, so I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below. But the current owners are the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. And when I noticed that, my instant reaction was, what? What is a Black Hawk helicopter doing taking off from that location? And does anybody remember the Las Vegas incident? Because if you don't, and you haven't gone down that rabbit hole already, I highly suggest that you do. Or you can watch one very specific video from an individual named Ian Carroll on X. You probably already know who he is. His name is Cancel This Clothing Company on TikTok. Because he actually did a full rundown on everything that you need to know about it. And if you watch that video, then you obviously know why I'm mentioning that incident. But there are numerous Saudi Arabian diplomats and scholars residing at that address. And like I stated, I'm going to be putting it in the comment section below so you can actually go check that out for yourself.
What? Officials just said that they recovered a black box from the Black Hawk military helicopter. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, announced during a news conference that they've recovered the black box from the Black Hawk helicopter in Wednesday's crash at Reagan National Airport. The black box will help investigators figure out what went wrong amid the crash. But wait, I thought that this type of Black Hawk helicopter did not have a black box. Watch this.
It's critical to note that this aircraft, the Black Hawk, the Lima model Black Hawk specifically, does not have your standard voice recorder black box that people are used to hearing about. You're going to have to rely on the external recordings of the tower air traffic control and the videos that you've seen taken from various cameras around DC.
I just find this to be very interesting information. So what kind of a black box did they recover? Because just days ago, you've been telling us that investigators were going to have to rely on external footage and audio. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
I was just searching around for Black Hawk autonomous helicopters, and apparently they've been flying around since 2022. So I saw it was a Black Hawk helicopter that hit the American Airlines flight last night coming into Washington, D.C. that had just taken off from the CIA headquarters. Much love and prayers to the families and friends who lost loved ones in this tragedy. It's just weird that this happened at this time. You know, after all the drone controversy in New Jersey and everywhere. I mean, an autonomous Black Hawk helicopter would just be a drone, right? I mean, what makes a drone and a helicopter? I mean, they got propellers and there's nobody in them, but they can shoot things from them. I don't know.
Another plane just crashed in Philadelphia. And this time they were saying that it crashed into a residential area and people are hurt. They don't have all the details. What they are saying is that it was a smaller airplane, a two-seater airplane. What the heck is going on? I don't even have words for that. But this is what the news they are reporting right now.
So you mean to tell me that a small plane crashed in Philadelphia into some row houses and y'all's mind ain't still clicking? What, remember, you know how they talk about America, we big bad wolf? I think we need to start being big bad wolf as soon as we find out who these people is. I don't know what's going on. I just know 2 days. Oh no. No. Coincidence? No. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, you can't fool me again. What's going on? Because I got a flight on Monday. I need this to be wrapped up. What's going on? So anybody, leave me a comment. Let me know.
What did they say?
First of all, let me just say, I am praying for the families of all of the people who have been impacted by these crashes. I am praying very heavily for this nation and our sanity. I am praying very heavily for the world. But what did he just say? It sounded to me, and I'm no conspiracy, okay, I am a conspiracy theorist. It sounded to me like he said, you're effing with the wrong people. Play back. Let me know in the comments what you think he said. Maybe I'm just tripping. But the fact that a military helicopter hit a plane, and then not even 48 hours later, plane is crashing, and on the air traffic control, you're hearing you're effing with the wrong people. It's definitely very suspicious, definitely very distracting, and very emotional for an already emotional nation. Listen, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Anybody who's planning to travel in the next few weeks, next few months, next 4 years, fly safe, but at the same time, stay dangerous.
2 planes in 2 days that were completely just unexplainable almost. You know, the Black Hawk helicopter incident that collided with the first plane, you know, there were so many variables that they are trying to roll out. You know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense because they said in the data and research, as they're suggesting, there could have been another craft there somewhere that could have caused some sort of interference or disruption, which then caused them to be confused because it was a crystal clear night. They say there was no breakdown in communication, and so they don't know exactly what happened the other night. And then tonight, you can see in the video, it's just like a fireball coming straight down out of the sky. So it really makes you wonder what's going on. Like, what happened up there? And they didn't say anything about any kind of mayday call or anything from a communication standpoint that would have said why this medical Learjet was going down the way it did. It's crazy, and your heart sinks, and it goes out to the families. It's really just a very strange phenomenon considering everything going on up there lately. And it's just, you know, you have that child who just received that life-changing, treatment for the illness, and it was such a travesty. It's horrific, you know, and just for it to plunge down like that in a heavily populated area with no warning, no advanced communication call out ahead to say something bad's coming, we don't know what's going on, just straight from the sky, straight down. It's amazing. It's heart-wrenching. And you can't blame it on anybody. You don't know what to do or where to think or where to ponder this happening or how it's coming, but it's just strange that it's happened like this 2 days in a row. Unexplainable, just not making any sense at all. So, you know, that video is just one that just makes your heart sink. You hear the gut screeching shriek come when they see it coming down. And some of the ones who are treated to see and released, thank God they're okay, but it just leaves us with so many more questions than answers, and it just makes no sense how these have both happened in a very similar fashion, this close together in a relatively, you know, same sort of area. Philly and Washington, D.C. are not that far apart, so I don't know. Just, you know, got to pray about this, and we just got to really be looking to the Lord in these moments of uncertainty, these moments that make no sense, these moments that just don't align with anything that, you know, it goes against everything that should be going the right that it should be going. Does that make sense? Because everything is going according to plan. Communication was clear the other night. Skies were clear. So for that to happen the other night didn't make any sense. Now there was no communication, nothing that was impeding their progress, and it just came down in a ball of fire. This is such a tragedy and so just bizarre. So just got to pray for these families, pray for these people involved, and look to the Lord, because these are strange times. Amen. I love you.
Y'all don't think something's going on with these plane crashes? The Nighthawk Eagle military aircraft helicopter into American Airlines, Philadelphia, an airplane, ambulance carrying 6 just falls to the ground near a mall. This morning, small engine plane. Is it me or is something going on? I'm not exactly sure. But statistically, flying is still the safest form of transportation in the world. What do you think? I know I'm staying away from large crowds. I was supposed to go to Atlanta on my vacation, Pride, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go. 2025, I'm going to lay low. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
What we see happening with these planes is not a coincidence. When I was in prayer this morning, the Lord began to speak into my ears. And the Lord said to me to warn the people to pray for America because something is coming. When I was in prayer, the Lord didn't just say this once, but he said this multiple times. And as I sat and I listened to the Lord, he took me to the book of Revelations concerning the 4 horses. Destruction and death is coming in this year of 2025. And God wants the people to wake up and take their relationship with him serious, so that you will hear from him for yourself, so that you will intercede against the plans of the enemy. The Lord said to me this morning, warn my people to pray for America because something is coming. Don't sit on what God has spoken, but as intercessors, God is requiring you to pray that the hand of God will be released upon this nation.